What's going on, everybody? I'm excited because this interview that you're about to watch is out of this world. I have Andrew Crider, aka Apple Crider, coming out of Wisconsin, 20-year-old university student who's killing it in podcasts. He actually has a top 100 business podcast, Young Smart Money. Check it out. And he's just killing the game with social media. So check him out. This interview is about to be phenomenal. He's about to drop some bombs on y'all. I hope you're ready. What's going on, everybody? I'm here with Andrew Crider, coming from Wisconsin. How you doing, brother?
I am doing fantastic. Raymond, how are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, before we get started, I just really want to thank you for hopping on, man, with this interview. I know that you're doing some major things right now on social media, and I just want to give the listeners and the viewers a chance to get some of the insights on what you're doing, some of your background, and really get some golden nuggets for you.
That's what's up. I appreciate it, man.
Awesome, awesome. So before we get started, if you can get some like a background information, like, where did you grow up? What did you do before you started doing social media, and what kind of got you into that?
Yeah, for sure. So, for those of you that don't know, like Raymond said, my name's Andrew Crider. Online, I go by Apple Crider, spelled like cider with an R. And I got into the social media game. Right now, I'm 20 years old. I'm a student at University of Wisconsin, and so I got into social media game probably about 2 years ago. And that's because I was getting really into personal finance. I was learning all there was to learn about investing, about how to get started with building credit, all that stuff. I was just really passionate about money and how people thought about money and interacted with money. Like from a very young age, I remember observing my parents, my mom especially, like looking at price tags of things and remarking if something was cheap or expensive or worth it or not. So I was always fascinated with how people thought about money. So I got interested in learning about money and how the monetary system works, how you can start building up your personal finance at a very young age. So I was into that, was talking to my friends about it, and they were like, dude, chill out. I'm like 16 years old. I don't need to think about this till I'm like 40. So I was like, great. Nobody wants to listen to me. So I'm going to make YouTube videos. And if y'all want to listen, that's great. If not, I'm going to just keep doing my thing over here because that's what I like to do. So I started making YouTube videos. I was doing that for a while. I was really enjoying it. And then I decided to branch out a bit because I was actually interviewed on a local radio station about my YouTube channel. And I was also running a social media marketing company at the time. And they got wind of that, and it was on my college campus. They were like, oh, a young person doing some cool stuff, let's interview him on the radio. So I did that, and I really liked that format. So I decided to pivot into podcasting and sort of put YouTube on the side. And then I was doing my marketing company and podcasting, and then I sort of ditched the marketing company to go all in on podcasting. And that's sort of where we got to today. We now have a top 100 business podcast, and that's my main gig.
Awesome, man. That's amazing. Top 100. That's a great journey. I mean, from just kids like, what are you doing, bro? Chill out, to like now you're definitely owning your space. That's awesome. Why did you see social media as like the platform to go to share your message?
Yeah, I guess it was really just because there was this one mentor of mine that I actually really looked up to. And he had a YouTube channel at the time when I first started my YouTube channel. He probably had about 5,000 subscribers. As of right now, he's got about 500,000. And
Whoa.
yeah, so he's grown a lot. And now I work very, very closely with him. He's actually one of the accounts that I manage, and he owns that account that you reached out to me through, called Investing Simple, with about 300,000 followers on Instagram right now. But that guy, he was actually giving away free Skype calls with him way back when he had 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I was watching this guy. He was doing cool stuff, talking about personal finance. And I just really liked the dude. So I just signed up for a free Skype call. Didn't really know what I was going to talk about, but I just hopped on there with him and I told him about my scenario and how I was getting really into personal finance and how nobody wanted to listen to me. And he was like, you got to make a YouTube channel. So I was like, I got to make a YouTube channel. So then literally that night I went in the basement of my dorm that I was living in, and I took a table and I put a garbage can on the table. I put a chair on top of the garbage can. I propped up my computer on top of that mess, and then I put my phone on my computer and just literally pressed record, stood in front of a whiteboard and talked about myself and about personal finance. And you couldn't see me, you couldn't hear me, and it was just all in all terrible quality video. But I got like 50 views on the thing, and that was really pivotal for me because I was like 50 people took the time to like listen to what I had to say, which was really impactful for me, and it really showed me there was potential out there to reach people with my message, and that social media could be a great way to do that.
Man, did you have you ever taken a picture of your first setup like that?
I should have, dude, because like looking back, it's like crazy because
Right?
like I didn't have anything, and it was a mess. Like I didn't even know how lighting worked. Like literally, I was just standing there in the dark, like you couldn't see anything. But I don't know. I don't know. It's been a journey.
Yeah, that's an awesome origin story, bro. You take that picture and like when you're on stage or something like this was me back then. That's
I should
awesome,
go recreate it because literally that
bro.
dorm is like less than a mile away. I could totally go back there and recreate it.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta find the same garbage can, the same chair, and
Yep.
everything,
Yep.
man.
Exactly.
So, like with the transition from YouTube, because how did you go from doing the YouTube channel to actually managing his account now?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And this is something that I would highly, highly recommend anybody, especially young people, should be doing, and that is working for free. So my sort of journey, how I got into Instagram, because I've talked about how I got into podcasting, but Instagram was sort of something that I didn't cover yet. And I got into Instagram because I saw people making money on the platform. I saw that there were people making some serious money on Instagram. So what I decided to do was I was going to make a page, sort of a niche page, a page not about myself, but about a topic like that investing simple page you reached out to me through. And I was going to make a page about entrepreneurship and about personal finance and about investing because that's the stuff that I was passionate about. So I made this page. Me and a buddy of mine actually partnered up to make it because I was like, I don't want to do all the work on this. This dude hustles a little bit, so let's get him involved too. So me and this buddy started the page. It's called Successful Founders. We still run it. It's got about 60,000 followers right now, which is significant.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It was growing a lot more in the past. Now it's kind of leveled out a bit. But so I started this page, and your question was how I got into Instagram. Okay, so we started this page and how I got connected with Ryan, actually. So we started this page. I figured out how Instagram worked, and I figured out how to grow an Instagram page and monetize an Instagram page. And now that I had that knowledge, I was like, all right, I'm going to leverage that knowledge in order to connect with people because from a young age, I realized that making connections and building my network was like the most valuable thing that I could be doing because
Right.
I've consistently prioritized building my network over building my income. I was running a social media marketing agency a couple months ago that was bringing in consistently a good amount of money, like enough money that I could easily live off of. And I pretty much dumped all of my clients to go all in on podcasting when I wasn't making any money there because I knew that by building my network and by interviewing high net worth and high value individuals, I was going to be able to get so much higher ROI on that than making a couple extra $1,000s a month with my social media marketing agency. So that's been a key thing for me. And so I had these skills. I learned a high value skill, which is something that I'm very passionate about. Like you need to learn a high value skill before you try to network with people and before you try to reach out to people. Because if you don't have anything that you're bringing to the table, you're not going to be at the table. Okay, they're not going to accept you to the table if you're not bringing anything. So you need to bring something to the table. Learn a high value skill. For me, it was Instagram. So learned that skill, and then I was approaching influencers and offering to work for free for them. So I approached this guy in particular, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm going to work for you for free. I am going to help you with your personal Instagram." Because like I said, at this point in time, he probably had 300,000 on YouTube and about 3,000 on Instagram. So I was like,
Oh,
dude,
wow.
huge disparity. There was no need for that because he's pumping out amazing content. He just doesn't understand Instagram. So I'm like, great. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna be this bridge for him, and I'm gonna get him onto Instagram. And he's somebody that I was really passionate about his mission. Like I wasn't reaching out to him because I wanted to make money from this interaction. Like I was just really passionate because he got me started. Like he put me on in the beginning. And so I just wanted to like repay the favor, to be honest. So I started working for him for free. And from the get, he saw that I had a lot of value and I was bringing a lot to his business. I mean, we were growing very quickly on that page. So he saw that. So he started paying me because he wanted to keep me around because I had this high value skill. He didn't want to lose me. He's like, dude, this guy could get picked up by anyone. Like if somebody else saw how good he was at this, somebody else is going to pick him up. So I want to keep him here. So he starts paying me. He refers me to other clients. And in that first month, I made something like $3,000 or $4,000 literally by just starting to work for free for somebody. So I'm very passionate about working for free. And first you learn that high value skill and then you just work your butt off for free. And when people see how valuable you are, that's where you can just like, I just started a business out of nowhere. Like I never made that much money before. I was 18 years old and I made like $3,000-$4,000 in a month. I was working as a server at the same time, making like maybe $1,500 a month. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, yeah, I literally, that next month I put in my 2 weeks and I was gone.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to highlight a couple things that you said, really three things you said. Number one, find a high value skill and get good at that. Number two, find like network before you worry about your income, and then the income follows. And it's so key. Like I see a lot of the top income earners, they always talk about give value, be willing to work, you know, prove yourself before you ask to get paid.
Mm.
And if you show your worth and you actually show up, like here you are, like the guy's like, wait a minute, like I need to pay this guy because I need this guy around, and then
Yep.
he automatically sends you two more clients because he was a happy client himself.
Yeah.
That's huge, man. That's huge. So with the Instagram growth, like
Mhm.
what's like one tip you can give somebody like on, I don't want you to give like your whole like blueprint, you know what I mean? But like one thing like how somebody can grow their Instagram quickly.
Okay, there's a couple things I want to say here. The first thing, like I could literally talk all day about Instagram and how to grow an Instagram page, and like you could just like talk to me for like 3 hours about this, but I'm not. I'm gonna spare you that. And the first thing, and something again, I'm really passionate about this. I think people are majoring in the minors. Okay, I have this written on my whiteboard behind me, but people major in minors, and what I mean by this is people spend a disproportionate amount of their time worrying about the little things that really don't matter. Okay, everyone wants the little tactic or the little strategy, the little snippet that is going to explode their business. And the reality is that doesn't exist. Okay, there's no one like little thing that you can flip, one little switch that you're going to flip and you're going to explode your Instagram page overnight, obviously.
Right.
And I think the thing that most people miss is that the 80%, it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of your success in any area is going to be determined by the basics. Like you need to have the basics on lock. You need to have your mindset on lock. You need to really understand the foundation of what you're doing. Because if you don't, you're never going to get there. And if you spend all of your time focusing on the 20% of like these little tactics and skills, and that's great. But if you don't have that 80% on lock, it's not worth it because you get much higher return on your time if you got that 80% on lock. And I think a lot of people, they think, oh, I understand the basics. Like I get how that works. In reality, they're nowhere near understanding that full, like the full understanding of how something actually works. So I think it's really important for people to not get caught up in like the latest, like little snippets here and there about like the new algorithm updates and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Like focus on the basics. And for me, the most basic thing is you need to be providing consistent, valuable content. Okay. And I know that sounds really basic, but it's really, really important. And I can give you guys some additional like snippets or like strategies and stuff as well. But like, it's really important that you are providing consistent, valuable content. Okay. You need to be posting, you need to be showing up every single day. If you want to grow an Instagram page and you're not posting every single day, you're not growing an Instagram page. Okay. That's just the way it is. Like
Yeah.
if you're not posting at least once a day, I mean, when I was really focused on growing my personal page, my business page, this page that we're talking about now, when I was really passionate about my agency, I was posting 3-4 times a day across like 10 different accounts. Okay. So I was doing a lot, and you need to be doing a lot if you want to
Yeah.
grow pages. Okay. So consistent and valuable. Okay. It's not enough at this point in time. It's not enough to just go out there and repost content. Okay. Like those days are over, especially in the entrepreneurship niche. People think they can just start a page in the entrepreneurship niche and just repost stuff from other people. And you could, like 6 months ago, a year ago, that was great. And you could do that and you could have a lot of success with that. And I've seen accounts that were started back then that now have 3, 4, 500,000 followers, but you can't do that anymore. It's
Right.
extremely saturated. Okay. Everyone did that like 6 months ago. You can't do that anymore. So you need to create valuable content, or you need to hire someone that can create valuable content. Because I know myself, I suck at graphic design. So I hire that out immediately. Immediately. And you can find people out there who will make you Instagram posts, very high quality Instagram posts for anywhere from $1 to $2 a post, which
Right.
in the grand scheme of things, that's not that much. If you're posting once a day, that's $30 a month. Like you can find a way. If you have a high value skill, you can find a way to make $30 a month without too much trouble. So
Right.
that's the biggest thing for me. And again, focusing on your strength is huge, because a lot of people are spending time trying to improve their weaknesses. I say focus on your strengths, delegate your weaknesses, and just find people that can do that for you. Because again, the cost of these things, like with my podcast, I don't edit my episodes. I stopped editing my stuff months ago because I realized I could hire somebody in a country where the cost of living is so dramatically different. I can pay them $5 to edit an hour-long podcast episode. I do 7 episodes a week. That's $35 out of my pocket. I'm pretty sure I can find a way to make an extra $35 a week with those hours of time that I just saved myself by not having to edit every single one of my podcast episodes. So make sure you got the basics on lock, and make sure you're not spending all of your time working on your weaknesses, because that's just going to waste your time in the grand scheme of things. And anything that doesn't require you to be doing, you should not be doing it, even when you're starting off. Like I see people doing things that they just it just doesn't make sense for them to do. Like for me,
Right.
it doesn't make sense for me to spend 3 hours editing my podcast episode when I can hire somebody for literally $5 to do that for me. Like my
Right.
time is worth more than $1.32 an hour. Like it just is.
Yeah. Straight up, man. I mean, that's like opportunity cost, right? Like what could you
Yes.
be doing in those 3 hours? And like
Yes.
you nailed it. It's like, okay, look, $5 to get something done in an hour. Like you
Can I
can't
make
make
that back?
$5. You can't make $5 an hour. Come on.
I can
Of
go to
course.
McDonald's and make that.
Yeah,
Like, come on.
exactly. For sure. And that's key, man. Like you gave a lot of gold nuggets there. Like understanding the basics and really getting a hold of that 80%. And that's like the real foundation of it. And then not focusing on like that's like a Jim Rohn quote, right? It's like people major in minor things, right? And
Oh,
that's why they don't get the results that they want.
I didn't know who said that, but now I know it's Jim Rohn.
Yeah, Jim Rohn says that, and it's so true. It's like focus on the basics, focus on the stuff that you're good at, and then outsource the things that you're not good at, and then you can create more content in that time. You
Yep.
know, that's so
Yep.
key. So it's very apparent that you've got social media on lock, but I'm sure it wasn't always like that. Like, what's one mistake or one like roadblock that you came to at the beginning of like this journey where like you messed up in social media, or thinking back, like, man, like that was a great lesson to not do in the future? Like, what's one thing like in that realm of stuff?
Yeah, so I've made so many mistakes, dude. Like I could talk for days about the mistakes that I made. A couple mistakes that I made were taking on the wrong clients. And this is something that I see people doing a lot. And especially when you're a young person, you're just starting your business and you don't have that much money coming in the door. Like any time that someone's offering you money, you kind of just want to take it.
Right.
And there can be pros to that. Like a lot of times, if you're not ready to do something, or you feel like you've just learned this skill and you don't know if you're ready to actually go out there and get paid for it, a lot of times it just makes sense to like take that leap and see what happens. But for me, I had established my niche and I decided to vary from that niche a couple times, and it just wasn't a smart idea because I knew this niche very well. I knew I could deliver for people in this niche, but then I decided to go outside of my wheelhouse, and that's when things didn't go as great. Like I was making promises I couldn't fulfill. I was just saying things that had no basis in reality, and I was in general just like exaggerating what I was capable of. So it's really important that you know like what you're capable of, and if you have too many clients, don't take on more clients. If
Right.
you are not comfortable in this other niche, like don't tell someone that you can get them a certain amount of growth in this niche if you have never done that before. Okay. So make sure that you're being realistic with people. And if someone comes in with unrealistic expectations, let them know that those expectations are unrealistic. Because that was a big thing that I was uncomfortable doing. Like somebody would come in and they're like, hey, can you grow my page like X amount per month? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure I could figure that out, when like I'd never grown something like that big before.
Yeah.
So just make sure that you know what you're actually capable of. And even if someone comes in dangling like a bunch of money in front of your face and they're offering you something, but you've never done that thing before, don't make promises that you don't know if you can keep. Because if you're not, shit, that's my bad. Sorry.
No problem.
Um, don't make promises you know you can't keep, because that's just going to come back to bite you. And that lost me a couple clients, that lost me some money, and all in all, it just wasn't worth it. So make
Right.
sure that you're making promises you can keep, and that you're staying in your wheelhouse, because you want to, like I said, like double down on your strengths, know what you're good at, and really commit to those, and really just go all in on what you're actually good at.
Right, right. Makes sense, man. Like, don't stretch yourself too thin, and don't make promises you can't keep. Like,
Yep.
if you haven't done something before, like I have someone that's asked me to build this website, and normally I use like ClickFunnels, and this website, like he wants to push something that ClickFunnels won't allow. It just doesn't. It's not in the terms of service, and
Mm,
so I have to create like a certain website with the creator I've never used before. And I'm like thinking like, man, okay, he's offering me some good money, but I'm like, I've never dealt with that, and I'm like, I gotta tell
yeah,
him. You know what I mean? So I don't want to put myself in that same situation. So that's
exactly.
definitely some good insights right there. Um, Another thing. So like right now, currently, like man, you have great knowledge. You're doing your podcasting. You're interviewing like people. Do you have like any type of coaching calls? Like, what can you offer somebody, or do you have anything available for somebody who may want to like book a call with you, or like reach out to you more on like Instagram growth training, anything like that? Like as far as like the listeners, if they want to reach out to you, how could they how can they do something like that with you?
Yeah, for sure. So the best place to hit me up is Instagram. That's where I'm most active. If you shoot me a DM, I'll probably get back to you within the hour. And that's just at Apple Crider Official. And Crider is just spelled like cider with an R. So that's Crider and then official. And just hit me up on there. Tell me what you're interested in. And I'm always down to hop on like a quick call with anyone to walk them through whatever they're struggling with, especially when it comes to Instagram, podcasting, or personal branding. Those are like my big three things that I'm just like real passionate about. So if any of those things are of interest to you, definitely hit me up, and I would love to chat it out with you guys. I'm always down to hop on a call with y'all.
Awesome. So that's Instagram at Apple Crider Official. You guys heard it. Reach out to him. Obviously, he's got tons of great knowledge and information. And I'm gonna have to on a separate call talk to you about YouTube and growing that up. I'm starting out my YouTube, so
Oh, nice.
definitely 50 views your first post. I'm like, man, I'll take that. You know. But man, I really appreciate you. So just to wrap it up real quick, like if you can give our listeners and viewers like just one thing, you know, if they want to start, maybe they're not making money yet on Instagram or social media, or maybe they have a successful business already that's not online. Like, what's one tip you can give them, or one piece of advice if they wanted to start moving into that realm of making money through social media or expanding their business through social media?
Yeah, so it really just comes down to knowing who you're serving and what problem you're solving. Because it seems like a lot of people are going into things with their only objective is to make money. And that's not smart, because you make money by solving problems. And if you don't know what problem you're solving, and if you don't know who you're helping solve that problem, what are you doing? You're not going to be successful. So make sure that any venture you go into, anytime you start something, say a YouTube channel, a podcast, an Instagram page, like know what problem you're solving and who you're solving it for. That's going to make things so much clearer for you. And it's going to really allow you to see, okay, am I having the results that I was looking for? Like, am I achieving the things that I was trying to achieve? Because I can see these people, and I can see, okay, am I consistently checking in with that message? Every time I interview somebody on my podcast, I know who my target audience is and what problem I'm trying to help them solve. And I'm like, okay, how can this person help my audience? And that's how I structure every piece of content I put out. I have that target persona in mind, and every single thing I do, I'm like, okay, how is this helping my person? How is this bringing them closer to the solution, to the problem that I'm solving? So make sure you have that like really, really, really locked down, and you really are committed to helping that person solve that problem. Because if you are, that's where the money is, and that's where the potential for growth is.
Right, man. That was so awesome, man. That's so true, man. I mean, you sound like you've been doing this for like 35 years, bro. Social media hasn't even been out that long, you know. That's awesome, man. So definitely, you guys, if you have any more questions, if you want to talk to Mr. Crider on a one-on-one basis, hit him up, Instagram at Apple Crider Official. Man, I just really appreciate you. Dropped tons of bombs on us today. I love the energy, man. You really deliver, like with your content. You know what you're talking about, and I just really appreciate you hopping on, man. 100%. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
For sure. Well, that's it, you guys. So make sure you reach out to Mr. Crider. And until the next episode, stay tuned. Again, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you're not following Mr. Crider yet, make sure you follow him at Apple Crider Official, and that's Crider like cider with an R in the beginning, and he's killing it. If you guys aren't listening to his podcast, Young Smart Money, check it out, and I hope you enjoy it because he dropped some bombs on you guys. And get ready for the next interview because the next one is going to be just as fire. Can't wait to see you guys there.